Hello and welcome to the Whoniverse. In this video I'm continuing a series of videos about the history of Doctor Who. I've looked at the Daleks, Sontarans, Cybermen, Slitheen and more, all ruthless and scary. However, in this video I decided to take a look at what many believe to be the scariest yet. So, I'm going to be looking at the Weeping Angels, also known as the Lonely Assassins, creatures that look like statues when you're looking, but can move faster than you can believe when you're not. They feed off time energy and are one of the most mysterious and deadliest creatures the Doctor has encountered. So how does their story start? Well, the Weeping Angels evolved near the beginning of the universe, according to the Time Lords, at the dawn of time. They were, in the 10th Doctor's words, the only psychopaths in the universe to kill you nicely, since their victims were otherwise uninjured and would live out the rest of their lives in the past. They also had a defense mechanism of turning into stone when observed by another living creature. This made them the loneliest beings in existence. Due to this defense mechanism, they could not even look at each other. In that respect, the Doctor appeared to pity them. In Time Lord society, Weeping Angels had somewhat of a mythological status. But when it comes to Earth's history, they seem to hang around quite a bit, as 3 Weeping Angels were trapped in Earth as it was forming. During the Renaissance period, the angels were discovered inside marble blocks. Believing it was a miracle, a group of priests and believers formed the Order of the 3 Angels, and commissioned Michelangelo to release the angels. They were defeated by the 5th Doctor and locked under the catacombs of the Sistine Chapel. Later, in July 1916, the 10th Doctor and Gabby Gonzalez encountered a flock of starving Weeping Angels, hunting victims in the town of Saint Michel in France. Then, in 1938, the Weeping Angels were using New York City as a farm, due to its massive population, and transformed most of the statues in the city into angels themselves. They would keep victims imprisoned in Winter Quay and send them back in time wherever they tried to escape. Crime Lord Julius Grail also had a Weeping Angel and several baby angels in his possession at the time. He kept the adult manacled in his office, torturing and damaging it, and the babies locked in a dark cellar. In response to the captive adult angel's distress, at least 2 other Weeping Angels watched over Grail's home. Disguised as ordinary statues, they eventually attacked it when it was left defenseless. Shortly after the Angels' attack on Grail's mansion, the 11th Doctor, Amy, River and Rory travelled to Winter Quay, where they were trapped by the Angels. However, Rory jumped from the Quay's roof, creating a time paradox, as an alternate timeline in which the Angels kept Rory imprisoned in Winter Quay until he died of old age already existed, which poisoned and killed the majority of the Angels. In 2007, a group of Weeping Angels stranded the 10th Doctor and his companion Martha Jones in 1969, and captured his TARDIS with the goal of using the Time Lord technology for its near-unlimited temporal energy, in a process which could cause enough damage to switch off the sun. Despite gaining the TARDIS, the Angels could not find a way into the police box-shaped construct. However, they later found the TARDIS key. Unfortunately for the Angels, Sally Sparrow took the key from one of them before they could reach the TARDIS. The Angels stalked Sally in their efforts to gain access to the TARDIS. They also sent Kathy Nightingale to 1920, and Billy Shipton to 1969, unknowingly allowing the Doctor to indirectly communicate with Sally through time. Sally Sparrow and Larry Nightingale later visited Wester Drumlins again, the Angels soon cornering them in the basement where the TARDIS was being stored. Despite the Angels turning out the lights, allowing them to move closer, Sally and Larry eventually entered it and sent it back to the Doctor. When it finished dematerializing, the Angels gazed at each other across the empty space where the TARDIS had been. Each turned to stone eternally, their menace ended. The 11th Doctor later recounted these events when asked if he had ever encountered the Weeping Angels before, describing these particular angels as scavengers, barely surviving. At some point in the 2000s, Julia Hardwick found clues that warned her of the Weeping Angels, as well as photos which seemed to depict her in the past. When she investigated, she was sent to the past by an angel. It was she who had sent herself the warnings. In 2011, Mark Whitacre encountered a Weeping Angel which sent him back in time to June 1994. In the past, Mark followed instructions from a letter he thought to be written by his future self. This angel was trapped in the CCTV system and crumbled to dust after using all its energy to send Mark back. In fact, it was a psychic paper sent to him by a group of 6 Weeping Angels. The Angels wanted Mark to save his wife, who had died in a car accident in 2003, to create a paradox so they could feed. Mark eventually decided against saving his wife and returned to the present in the 11th Doctor's TARDIS after helping the Doctor, Amy and Rory trap the Angels forever in a TV system and disperse their consciousness. During the adventure, Rory got sent back to 2001 by a Weeping Angel, but after spending a month setting up a trap for the Angels in 2003, following instructions the Doctor had given him, Rory reunited with the Doctor, Amy and his younger self. After trapping 5 of the Angels, and the 6th accidentally trapping itself, the Doctor realised that the Weeping Angel that sent Mark back in time was trying to change its own past, but caused it instead. Mark's time in the past ended up actually leading to him meeting Rebecca, and ended up with her and his future self facilitating many of the events in their lives. If he had changed her death, it would have caused a paradox, because it would have changed both the past and the future. The Doctor realised that the Angels planned to do this to everyone eventually, starting with Mark, until they used every person on Earth to create paradoxes and feed. In 2012, a single Weeping Angel chased an athlete across the Olympic Stadium in an attempt to steal the torch, and the spirit of the games. It followed him into the TARDIS and grabbed the torch, but the 11th Doctor used the sonic screwdriver to destroy the Angel. However, it reformed moments later, despite missing its right arm. On 2 occasions in 2012, a Weeping Angel in New York displaced Rory Williams in time. The first was when an angel disguised as part of a water fountain sent Rory to 1938. On the second occasion, he was displaced by a survivor of the destruction of Winter Key, near his and Amy's gravestone. Amy allowed the angel to touch her, sending her back with Rory, but preventing the Doctor from ever reaching them again. In 2016, a Weeping Angel killed Dorothea Ames for her failure in stopping Charlie Smith from using the Cabinet of Souls against the Shadowkin. The governors worked for the Angels, preparing for their arrival. The 12th Doctor encountered and defeated a Weeping Angel connected to a Gallifreyan stone in New York. At an unknown time after Earth, a definitive piece of literature about the Angels was created. It features writing dictating all known knowledge of the Weeping Angels and their abilities. At some point in the 47th century, hundreds of Weeping Angels came to Alphavia Metraxis and wiped out the civilization of the Applans. Afterwards, they ran out of food and began to starve, going dormant in the Applan Mortarium. Another angel somehow learnt of this. It passed through private hands and eventually was brought onto the Byzantium, when it caused the ship to crash onto Alphavia Metraxis, planning to use the radiation as fuel. River Song, who had been tracking it, tried to warn the owner, but he didn't listen to her forewarnings. The 11th Doctor and Amy Pond, along with River and the soldiers from the church, entered the temple to find it. Inside the maze they found many worn statues. The Doctor believed that the angel must have hidden itself among them to avoid being found. The angel killed 3 soldiers and used the consciousness of one to communicate with the Doctor. When the Doctor eventually realised that all the statues were angels, the awakening angels attacked. Surrounded, they escaped by destroying a gravity globe, creating an updraft and falling onto the Byzantium. The angels followed them, only for both groups to encounter a crack in one of the ship's walls. The crack was bleeding pure time energy, something the angels had predetermined would appear, bearing limitless time energy for them to consume. However, after capturing the Doctor, he told them they could not feast upon pure time energy, which was the fire at the end of the universe. This allowed the Doctor to escape and regroup. Now fearing the crack, the angels began fleeing to the other side of the ship, being briefly halted by the cleric's gazes. When only Amy, the Doctor and River remained, the angels confronted the Doctor. They told him the only way he could seal the crack was by throwing himself into it. Instead, the Doctor waited for the Byzantium's artificial gravity to shut off, because the angels were absorbing too much energy from the ship itself, causing the entire angel army to fall into the crack, sealing it and removing them from history. At an unknown point in time, the Weeping Angels travelled to Trenzalore along with many other beings, in response to a mysterious message. Unlike the other species, they managed to make it onto the planet, where they were discovered by the 11th Doctor and Clara Oswald. The Weeping Angels surrounded them, but the Doctor summoned the TARDIS to them and they escaped. During the later siege of Trenzalore, a Weeping Angel tried to invade the town, but was trapped by the Doctor using a mirror on which he wrote, "With love from the Doctor." The remaining angels eventually retreated, as with all the invaders except for the Daleks. On Gallifrey, Weeping Angels had gotten trapped in the fibre optic cables within the Matrix, and were found by Clara Oswald and the 12th Doctor. The Weeping Angels have been mentioned numerous times, or have been replicated to induce shame or fear, such as with Rassilon describing those who stood against him as the Weeping Angels of old. Gibbis feared Weeping Angels, and when trapped in the computer-generated hotel prison, so Weeping Angels were computer-generated to induce fear and cause a change of faith. The 12th Doctor spoke of the Weeping Angels as one of the menaces the monks had allegedly defeated. And that is it, the history of the Weeping Angels as we know it. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you want to see more History of Doctor Who videos, click the links on the left. And if you want to see more of my videos and be the first to know when I upload a video, click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.